This is MuggleCast, the Harry Potter podcast discussing everything about J.K. Rowling's Wizarding World. Welcome to MuggleCast episode 365. Holy crap, just realized we now have a MuggleCast for every day of the year.
Wow.
I'm Andrew.
I'm Eric.
I'm Micah.
And today is December 31st of whatever year you are listening to this in. Congrats. You've made it 1 year. A new MuggleCast episode for every day of the year.
Although, unless it's a leap year, right?
Oh,
We're still not there. We're still,
crap.
you know what? In 2 episodes
No, we
time,
are. I mean, we have all these other episodes, by the way, that you
That's
can
true.
listen to. It's not just 365. I mean, there are some special episodes in there too. So
I guess that's
we're
right.
covered.
There's mini MuggleCasts and Leaky Mugs, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Bonus MuggleCasts if you want to include those.
Oh,
from
that's
Patreon.
true. Okay, yeah, we've hit a milestone. Love it.
So I'm Andrew, that's Eric, that's Micah, and we're joined by a guest this week, one of our Slug Club members, Molly. Hello, Molly.
Hi, how you guys doing?
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's nice to have you. You did a lot of research and preparation for today's episode, which we greatly appreciate.
I did.
You read Cursed Child just for us? Is that what you said?
Yeah, when you emailed me, I was like, and I read the planning doc, I was like, oh crap, I haven't read Cursed Child. I should probably go do that.
Oh my, you hadn't at all?
No.
Oh, we're so sorry.
Well, I don't know if you're going to like what she has to say, Eric.
Oh, okay. Did she like it?
I think I confirmed why I was reluctant to read it, but I would still like to see it on Broadway.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We are going to be positive about the Cursed Child for the most part today, because this is the final episode before Micah and Eric see the Cursed Child.
That's right.
The three of us are seeing it on Broadway in just a couple of days now, and we're going to do kind of a predictions sort of discussion where we predict what they think will be their favorite parts of it, and we have some fun questions to ask there.
Yeah.
And then we'll kind of revisit all that after we see it.
Yeah.
So we have some fun plans there. First, let's get your fandom ID, Molly. When did you first discover the Harry Potter series?
I think I was like 6. It's really funny looking back. I was at like a family member's house that they're like very conservative, and I can't see them like letting their children watch Harry Potter, but it was on the TV, and I remember seeing it, pieces of it, and then came home and was like, Mom, Dad, like I really want to read these books and watch this movie, and they went out and bought it. Was just up to Goblet of Fire at the time, and they bought them for me. So
okay, so the movies got you into what year? You said when you were 6. So
Yeah.
how many years ago was that now?
well, I'm 21, so I can't do math this early in the morning, but a while ago.
That would be
15 years ago. Yeah. Cool.
So we're going to ask this next question differently. We've been doing this for a while now, so we want to kind of like shake it up. In one breath, I want you to offer your favorite Harry Potter book, movie, your Hogwarts house, Ilvermorny house, and Patronus. So just all in one sentence, just spew it out.
You're just trying to get us under an hour. Is that what it is?
Favorite book, Prisoner of Azkaban. Favorite movie, Sorcerer's Stone. Hogwarts house, Gryffindor. Ilvermorny house, Wampus. Patronus, Sparrowhawk.
Perfect.
Sparrowhawk.
Yeah, it's just a bird.
Well,
But
just
like,
a
there's
bird,
nothing
it's-
else about
It's your
it.
bird.
Oh, well.
It's your bird, right?
Sparrowhawk.
So you've actually had a couple cool fan experiences too. Tell us about those.
Yeah, so actually I studied in Denmark last semester. So listening to MuggleCast was like great. I got to hear some American voices every week. But while I was there, I had the opportunity to go to London, and I went to the studio tour, which I never thought I was like going to be able to do so soon, and it was amazing, as everybody else agrees. But also I visited Edinburgh, Scotland,
Nice.
which is where Jo wrote the majority. Well, I think she wrote all of Philosopher's Stone there, but in particular, there's this cafe called the Elephant House Cafe, and that's where like she wrote a lot of Philosopher's Stone. So like they have like things on the wall, and like I went there. But what's really cool is if you look out the back window where she would like sit and write, you have this view of a graveyard, and then in the distance is Edinburgh Castle, like sitting on the hill. And if you like squint, you can like definitely see Hogwarts like sitting there. So I thought that was really cool. And actually, in the graveyard of that church, outside that cafe, is where she apparently got a lot of names for some of the characters. So like there's
Right.
supposedly like a Moody grave there, but I actually found the Tom Riddle and his son Tom Riddle's grave in that graveyard.
Whoa. That's creepy as hell.
This is
Yeah,
a great
but-
story, though.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Wasn't there
Yeah.
also, I forget the special that was done on J.K. Rowling. It has to be maybe even 10 years old at this point. But there was a name specifically that was listed in a book that was in a church, I believe, that she said that she used for one of the biggest villains in the series. She didn't specify whether it was a male or a female character, but it supposedly was in that book. And I don't know, just you telling that story, Molly, made me think of that. So I wonder if it's a church that's close by on those grounds. I just can't remember from the documentary, but that stood out to me.
It could have
Well,
been
the biggest villain is Rita Skeeter.
Yeah,
I'd
definitely.
argue.
I think our poll results confirm that from last week. But could it have been J.K. Rowling A Year in the Life? Would that have been?
It
that,
may have been, yeah.
I think they follow her around while she's finishing up Deathly Hallows. I think that's that.
so cool. What was it kind of like? Did you feel any inspiration to write yourself when you were in that cafe?
Not particularly, because it was like the last day we were there and I was really tired and I was like ready to like get on the plane. But I could definitely see how it would be like conducive to good writing.
Yeah. J.K. Rowling should buy that place and then convert it back to a cafe since it's not anymore. That would be cool, I think.
Oh no, it's still a cafe.
Oh,
was-
I thought it was like a noodle shop or something.
It's something. It was something else in between the time that she wrote there and what it is now. But
Oh, okay.
now
Yeah.
it's back to. Okay, and
Or
they
maybe she did buy it.
they have mugs that say the birthplace of Harry on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got
That's-
like a pin while I was there.
Mm,
Yeah,
cool.
cool. Very cool. All right. Well, yeah, welcome to the show. It's nice to have you here, and feel free to jump in at any point during today's discussion.
All right.
Yeah. So on last week's episode, we had a discussion about who is the worst villain in the Harry Potter series, and we did a poll, besides Voldemort, and we did a poll, and far and away, with 71% of the votes, was Dolores Umbridge.
Nice.
Congratulations, Micah.
We owe you a drink in New York. In second place
Take it.
was Lestrange with 20% of the vote, and then third place was Fudge with only 3% of the vote. Then the Dursleys got 2%, Dumbledore got 1%, Skeeter got 1%, Lockhart got 0%, Barty Crouch got 1%. So there you go.
Wow.
Some people argued Snape was the worst, and Fenrir Greyback.
Yeah, people are really adamant about Snape, like
Yeah.
calling him evil, and I don't know.
Well, that's a big debate in fandom still.
That's true.
It always has been. So that was fun. Glad we did that last week. And now turning to this week's discussion, we want to have Micah and Eric and Molly predict the cursed child. So, like I said,
What's
we're
there
going
to
be
predict?
seeing.
I mean, we
Yeah,
know
I'm not sure about this headline here.
what's
Yeah.
going to happen.
Predict your
don't we, for the most part?
reactions. Predict your reactions, your feelings towards the cursed child after you see it. We're seeing it together in a couple of days. By the way, J.K. Rowling is now in New York, presumably for the premiere that's happening on Sunday or Monday.
She's actually here. I don't know if you guys
Yeah.
knew that. I invited her over.
Oh, she's in your room right now. Interesting.
We won't go into more detail than that, but
Oh, cool. Tell her I said hi.
yeah, it was funny when I saw the tweet yesterday about her touring the Lyric Theater. I just thought it would be funny to send something back. I didn't end up doing it, but just saying, hey, like, when are we grabbing a drink? Like, I need to know some information here. What's Aberforth's goat's name? You know, Andrew has questions I could probably get answers to. Eric, I'm sure you do. Molly, I should have done it, because then I could have come to the show today and really just kind of gone through a whole list of things that
Yeah.
she could have answered for us.
Yeah. If only you tweeted her, it definitely would have happened.
I mean, she's probably, I'm assuming she's going to be there for a couple of shows, right? Did she go? Are they still doing previews?
I don't know about a couple of shows.
Yeah, they're still doing previews. We don't know if she's seen it yet, but she said, I've just walked around the refurbished Lyric Theater for the first time and cried quite a lot. It's so beautiful. I can't believe we're on Broadway. She's right. I mean, I'm so excited to see this theater. It truly looks spectacular.
Yeah, completely agree.
So what we wanted to do is predict what you three feel now about the Cursed Child and then revisit these questions afterwards. And of course, we'll be talking a lot more about it once we see the 5.5 hour show.
All right.
What character are y'all most looking forward to and why? Who do you think is going to be like the standout, kind of blow you away performance wise?
I don't know about the standout, but me personally, I'm going. I mean, we've all read the script book. I know what to expect from dialogue, but from acting and stage production, like the things that I'm most looking forward to seeing, character wise, Ginny is high up there. I really want to see a believable, sort of competent Ginny. Like, you know, Ginny kind of has gotten the rough go of things in the film adaptation. There's not really enough time devoted to make her character pop as well as it does in the books. So I want there to be at least two good Ginny moments, you know, where I just think that she's the character that I know and love from the books, and I think the play might be able to do that. And also the Ron Hermione relationship. Like I asked somebody a while ago, but I was reviewing that Wonderland article where J.K. Rowling threw a lot of salt on the open gaping wound of Harry Hermione shippers and all that, or Hermione Ron shippers. And I want to see that since the Cursed Child came after that, you know, Hermione and Ron actually have a healthy, fulfilling relationship. So I hope that the play really illustrates that to make me more comfortable for believing that they're a good match.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested to see working dad Harry. I know we've made a lot of fun of that when we've done reviews of the Cursed Child script book, but just to see that change, right? Knowing the Harry that we know from the books, how we've created that character in our minds, seeing the portrayal by Daniel Radcliffe throughout the films, but kind of seeing a little bit of an older Harry. A lot of these characters are older now, more mature, more adult. Wasn't a huge fan of the light that he was portrayed in, and you know, kind of like, I work at the ministry, I'm frustrated, long hours, go home, yell at my kid, like. Yeah. But interested to see how that will take shape.
Yeah, in a similar vein, when I do see it eventually, hopefully, I'm interested to see Draco kind of in the same way, because he is still the same Draco that we know, but also is like a very different character than what we've seen from him like in the books. So I'd be interested to see that, as well as the Harry McGonagall dynamic that's present.
Oh God, I forgot they have he says something very mean to her, doesn't he?
Yeah, they have a bit of a tiff. So
I'm reading the comments here from people listening live. First of all, Amber says the bathroom there at the Lyric Theater made me cry. I don't know what's in there. Please don't tell me. I want to be surprised.
Well, it's probably just the women's bathroom. They tend to favor. I know at the Hancock Lounge, there's a special window with a portal and a view in Chicago.
Yeah, I have a correction. She was referring to the Elephant House Cafe, not.
Oh,
never mind.
Oh.
Yeah, that's because they I didn't actually go in there, but they have like pictures of it on the wall, and it's like covered in like people like writing things about Harry Potter.
Oh, they should do that at the Lyric Theater too.
Yeah.
And Nolan, who's also listening live on Patreon, he says, I was surprised by how good the Dumbledore was when I saw it in London. He was better than Gambit, in my opinion. Interesting.
Low bar.
Yeah, it was a very soft. I remember him being kind of soft-spoken. It was a good. I like the relationship between him and older Harry in this play.
When Harry cancels his portrait?
Yes, yeah.
Love it.
Nope, Dumbledore comes back to life.
I've been alive all this time.
I have
Book
to say,
6 was a sham.
I love your Dumbledore voice.
And I like talking in it.
Well, great.
How about what scene are you most looking forward to seeing? You've read the book.
Script.
What script? Well, yeah, script book.
Yeah.
Which one stood out? Which one were you / are you like, oh, I can't wait to see that on stage?
I'll go first. The church scene, the battle scene in Godric's Hollow. I think particularly I want to see the transformation of Harry into Voldemort.
Yeah.
Andrew, I'm assuming that's something that actually plays out on stage.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of this is what's so cool about this show. There's magic, seemingly magic happening on stage, and you wonder frequently throughout both parts, how did they do that? There's some very cool stuff happening. And along those lines, the Polyjuice potion scenes are very cool. How about you, Eric?
Definitely, honestly, the hotly contested trolley scene, specifically for the reason that you mentioned. These things that don't seem like they should be possible on stage, like time turning or the polyjuicing or stage magic. You know, the trolley witch, this old unsuspecting woman turning into a creature with long, pincer-like appendages. Like I'm all in. I want to see that be realized. It is kind of just like a crazy scene when you're reading it. And this was probably one of the only instances while reading the script book where I was like, oh my God, how are they going to do that? Because I know that whatever I think they're going to do on stage with this play is going to be far surpassed by them actually doing it. But that scene in particular, I'm like, no way. No way is this a thing that happens on stage. So I'm really kind of excited to see the trolley witch transform into the monster from all of our nightmares.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would really like to see the staircase scene, just because I was definitely getting the Scorbus vibes while I was reading the script book, but also the stage directions are like kind of vague. So I'd really like to see like how that scene's actually portrayed on stage.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to actually cry when I watch that scene this time.
Okay.
I'm just so upset, and it's so beautiful and upsetting at the same time.
I'll bring a Kleenex.
Because I'll never forget sitting there when the first time I saw it and thinking like, oh my God, I think they may actually be gay by the time this show is over. And then they weren't. Okay, so issue this prediction now. Will part 1 or part 2 be better? After you come out of both parts, what part are you going to proclaim was better?
2.
Probably part 2. I mean, I think that's hard. That sort of puts the play at a little bit of a disadvantage. I don't actually remember, Molly, maybe you can help as far as what action sequences are in the first part. But
yeah, I think it's the trolley scene, and that might be it. I don't remember.
Well, some of the time turning happened in there with
the
Triwizard Tournament.
The first 2 tasks.
A lot of setup, and I think part 2, if I'm remembering correctly, opens in the Dark World, right? With Voldemort Day. Yeah. So everything from like navigating that to seeing Ron and Hermione not married to each other to seeing Snape and Dumbledore, and not to mention the climax of the play. I think part 2 will probably be the more, it's just the thrilling conclusion, to everything that was set up in part 1. Part 1 will be, in my mind's eye, characterization and plot to explain whatever they're running with to do in part 2. But in part 1, I am looking forward to Delphi.
And Andrew, I have a question for you, though. Did you feel fulfilled by both parts?
Yeah. Well, I came out of part 1 thinking the world is so screwed up that it's not much of a cliffhanger that all of this is going to get fixed, because, of course, things weren't going to remain this way. So to me, I went into part 2, like, I was excited to see part 2, but I was also thinking, well, this is all going to get reversed and things are going to be happily ever after. Like, I think we spoke about this after we read the script book. Nothing really permanently changes by the end of Cursed Child. And I would have liked to have seen some things change other than like the relationship between Harry and Albus?
Like what?
Like what? Like losing significant characters, maybe.
Oh.
We do hear about a couple characters that die, but they don't die during the show.
Right.
Yeah, or maybe like, I can't remember what happens to Delphi, but does Delphi die by the end of it, or
Molly?
no? She's put in Azkaban. Is that it?
I don't remember. I read this in a whirlwind.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look it up.
I was gonna say I have it in front of me here, so
Somebody will answer in the chat, I'm sure.
Well, I'm curious too. Like, didn't you say they completely kind of changed not just all the merchandise that was available in the gift shop, but like, did they like throw an extra banner or two around the theater itself to transform the show to be a part 2 theater?
Yeah. So when we came, I'll be curious to see if they do this in between both parts. But the merchandise changed once we got out. Like there was Voldemort Day stuff, and then when you go back into the theater for part 2, there's like a Voldemort Day banner hanging up in the middle of the stage, and there's other stuff too. But I don't want to tell you because
okay.
You'll be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, that's exciting. Like this is kind of that's the stuff that's going to be. I expect the theater to be just amazing, like the best theater, the most intense Harry Potter experience theater that money can buy. You know, I am really genuinely looking forward to our show.
Delphi was placed in Azkaban and she's still alive. Like she should have been killed. Like stuff like that.
Yeah, that's sort of a loose end.
Well, they're leaving it open for part 3. Delphi returns.
oh boy.
I still want to bring my father back to life.
I gotta say, there's still so much of Cursed Child that happens off screen. Like, it's mentioned that the giants and other creatures are on the move or march. Like Delphi was recruiting them for whatever plot she had, or putting in a good word for her father who hadn't been brought back yet. Like those are scenes I would have loved to have seen that would speak to Delphi's character, but it didn't happen in the play itself. Like there's stuff that is happening, but it's off screen.
That's coming in the new book, Midnight Bird. Cursed Child from Delphi's Perspective by Stephanie Meyer.
Oh gosh.
And E.L. James.
Forward by E.L. James. Yeah.
Micah, you said part 2 as well, right? You're more looking forward to?
Yeah, I think so. But I don't want to completely dismiss what part 1 has to offer. I think talking about the setup, we know that you need to do that, but it seems like a lot of the action is going to be happening in part 2. And if you're an action person, then that's probably more so what you're looking forward to. But just kind of getting immersed back into the world, even though it's not written by J.K. Rowling, it's J.K. Rowling approved. I think that's going to be kind of cool for the first time in a long time to, you know, we had it with Fantastic Beasts, but to go back there and to see what this all looks like on stage. And I know we've compared it in the past to going to the Wizarding World, right? It's an experience. You're not necessarily looking to downplay the plot and the story when you're going to see the actual performance, because you're there for that reason. You're not necessarily there for the story, whether you like it or not. That's up to you. I think you're more there to immerse yourself back into the world and to go someplace that I think all of us really have enjoyed going for some time. So that would be my support of part 1, and we'll see. Maybe my opinion will change coming out of having seen both parts.
I think that's a really good point, actually, and that, you know, maybe we'll find some kinship with this. Like maybe it will really feel like we're back in the Wizarding World by seeing this show on stage.
Well, speaking of kinship, I think that's kind of a cool part of this experience as well, just being surrounded by fellow Harry Potter fans who are most likely seeing this for the first time. And at least with when I saw it, everybody was kind of laughing and cheering and crying and shrieking along with one another. So that made it a cool experience as well.
This is going to be one of those movie theater audiences.
Yeah. Possibly.
Well, do you think though this is opening day, right? / night for this show on Wednesday?
Ish, yeah. They're doing that all-star performance on Sunday or whatever. Whenever J.K. Rowling's
All-star.
But I would wonder though too what the audience makeup is going to be like for Wednesday, just knowing that it's kind of the official opening of the show. Do you think I mean, obviously you're going to have a lot of Potter fans that are going to be there, but I also wonder what the mix is going to be, whether you're talking about celebrities or other notable people that may be in attendance. Will you get that same kind of reaction?
What are some famous native New Yorkers that live there that are just like walking the street? Like, is Ashton Kutcher still there?
I don't know.
I had
call
like
him.
a friend who saw Cursed Child like a week ago, and he was like, "Oh, Stephen Sondheim was like sitting in front of me." So like,
Oh my,
There you go.
whoa, Stephen Sondheim.
yeah, so just like people like that will probably be there.
I did get the guest list for the official opening night, or not official, the premiere event, which is Sunday, April 22nd. I'm not naming all the names. I'll name the ones I recognize. Glenn Close, Chris Colfer, Darren Criss, Whoopi Goldberg, Dan Fogler, a fantastic piece. Gail King, Oprah's best friend, Chris Rock, David Hyde Pierce, Liev Schreiber, Emma Thompson, Jessica Williams, Allison Williams, Anna Wintour, and more.
See, they're just cheating. Those guys should all be at Wednesday's show. It was the
Eric's
first.
still really bummed.
Yeah, dude. Wednesday was the first performance that you could buy when they came on, and
I know.
that's why we got them. So this event was not a twinkle in anyone's eye. I would love to have met David Hyde Pierce. I think he's a cool guy.
Maybe he'll come back for
Wednesday. Loves it so much. It comes
No,
back.
but
Darren Criss and Chris Colfer will be elsewhere, but David Hyde Pierce will keep coming back for it.
There could be the opportunity for some of the cast from the actual Potter films to be there on Wednesday, if that was the original opening. I mean, I'm sure the Phelps twins will show up at some point.
The people who had to buy their tickets through the everyone else channels.
Yeah, Dan Radcliffe had to wait in line with the rest of us.
It's the pre-approved fan.
Dan Radcliffe is pissed he doesn't get to see Darren Criss. I bought tickets for opening night.
Yeah,
what the hell, mate?
But it's I mean, Wednesday, yes, Sunday, fine. But Wednesday, that's the official sort of public opening to the show. So I was.
Yeah, that's when the peons, when the serfs, when all of us peasants can go.
I think you'll be pleasantly surprised by who's there, Eric.
I thank you.
My prediction is he won't.
Really?
He'll be disappointed.
Really?
Well, no, guys. The two celebrities that I want to see there, that I need to see there for me to have a good night, are you two. So.
You two, yeah, I really love Bono and Edge.
The two,
Adam Clayton.
Come on.
Oh, us two.
Andrew Sims and Micah Tannenbaum. If you guys are
nice
with
of you
me,
to say.
Yeah.
But now I'm hoping Bono's there.
Yeah.
All right, what else are you guys looking forward to? Eric, you wrote the score?
Yeah, nobody talks about this as often as they probably should, but everyone who does talk about it says it's truly immersive and amazing work done by Imogen Heap, the score for The Cursed Child. Am I wrong in thinking that it is on Spotify? I'll do my own research. But next time, before putting it in the doc, somebody did tell me once that it was available on Spotify to listen to, but the soundtrack that you only hear, during the 5 hours of performance, is sort of supposed to be extremely appropriate and fitting and immersive.
I actually am seeing, so it's not official, but I'm seeing stuff by Imogen Heap as part of a Harry Potter and the Cursed Child playlist by someone.
Oh.
Let's just play one of these and see. This is allegedly part of the...
Do you not remember?
No, I mean...
Where are we?
This isn't.
What the hell?
This is Albus and Scorvus' song. What the hell's going on?
Did you make
that
that
was
yourself,
just
Andrew?
that's just Imogen Heap.
Yeah, I have no clue what this is, but
Okay. Anyway, really, in case I forget, it's not a musical, but there is a score to the play, right? Am I right?
yeah.
And so,
No, you're
okay.
right. You're right.
Yeah. So I'm very interested in.
It's more like transitional music, though. It's not like
like orchestral, like without.
right.
maybe the trolley scene has a couple whiz bangs on the drum, right? Just.
And what are you looking forward to, Micah?
The owl, of course.
Stop.
Oh, of course. If you don't buy an owl, I'm never speaking to you again. Buy a damn owl in the merchandise store.
I will.
Have to. And we're going to take a picture of you with it, and then you're going to bring it into part 2, and then you're going to throw it.
That's what I was going to say. Well, first off, if it doesn't start off part 1, I'm going to walk out of the theater and protest. And then the second part, yeah, I think that's right. I should get one during the break, and then as part 2 starts off on Voldy Day, throw the owl onto the stage, and I'll probably get escorted out of the theater.
Yeah, I dare you. I dare you.
I'm actually looking forward to seeing how good your throw is. We're in, I think, row J or something, so you probably make it to the stage.
Yeah.
And I want you to yell, "Look out, there's an owl."
Yeah. Or I'll just end up hitting somebody sitting in the actual orchestra pit.
Oh, yeah. That's always a risk when you sit in the orchestra pit, that you get hit by something people are throwing on Broadway.
There's no orchestra.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Since it's not a musical.
So the music that plays is just coming through the sound system?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Speaking of buying an owl, how much do you guys think you're going to spend on merchandise? Make your predictions now. I spent $100. I'll probably buy a couple other things, maybe.
I'm going to buy one $100 shirt that says Voldemort Day. Like a t-shirt,
Nice.
like a children, like a youth medium, and it's going to cost $100, I'm sure. But it'll say Voldemort Day.
Well, how much does an owl cost?
I don't know. Let's say 20.
$44.95.
Is that legit? $44.95?
No, I don't know.
It could
probably
be.
less
It's New
than
York.
that.
You never know. So
Yeah, it is New York.
yeah, I mean, maybe around 50. It depends what they have. Andrew, I know you checked out the store when you were in town a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll see what kind of merchandise they have. As you know, I had trouble in Orlando. I think how many stores did we go to try
Oh
to find
my
something?
God. Micah and I went to 30 stores. He could not pick something to buy. It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. I ran out of patience by the end.
You got to feel something. Someone's got to speak to you.
Buy something and move on.
Yeah, I would also definitely suggest, I'm assuming it's like other Broadway shows where if you buy a beverage, they give you a cup that you get to take home, and it says Harry Potter and the Cursed Child on it.
Oh, I just experienced that recently.
Yeah, so I would definitely get one of those.
That's probably the best way to go because the drinks are stupid expensive, but at least you get a souvenir cup out of it.
Yeah,
I actually had a funny experience with that when I was in New York a couple weeks ago. I went to Springsteen on Broadway, and I didn't want to drink. I wanted to watch it sober for once. And as I was walking out, I said to my friend Richard, who I was with, I was like, okay, let's keep an eye out for somebody's cup. If somebody hopefully left a cup behind, because I wanted that cup. And sure enough, I was barely finishing the sentence when I look to my right and I see a cup wedged in the seat that I walked by. And I pulled it out real quick, poured out the rest of the beer that was in there, and then washed it once I got home. But I was very pleased because these damn drinks cost $15 on Broadway.
Yeah, I spent $25.
Oh yeah,
one drink.
Oh yeah, good luck with if you get 2 shots in one drink. Oh my God.
Double is I'll forget about it.
Anyway. I would like to say right now, I am going to try and not. My plan right now is I will not have a drink when seeing the show with you guys. Okay. And the reason I say that is because the first time I saw it, I was a little tipsy.
Oh.
The drinks were a little too strong. It was a little hard for me to focus because there's so much going on stage. I'm like, wait, slow down.
It's a 5-hour play and you're telling it to slow down.
Yeah.
But,
how did the timing feel, though? 5 hours. I know it's broken up, but did you feel like it was pretty fast paced, or did it drag?
I actually thought it was fast paced. There was no part where I was like, okay, this is feeling long. This needs to move on. I was pleasantly surprised.
I definitely felt that way while reading it. It felt very fast paced, so I can definitely see that it would be not too bad watching it on stage.
Yeah. So finally, are you guys? I presume you're keeping an open mind going into it. We've been critical of the book, but now we're here. You're about to see the show. Are you going into it with an open mind? Do you think being there, seeing the show, will affect your feelings on the Cursed Child on a whole?
I think from day one it's been very clear, people who like the show have been adamant, see it live. That's how it should be. And that's true with any dramatic production or so. It's meant to be seen live. It's not just meant to be read because of the other elements. And I think I am willingly keeping an open mind, and I'm also interested in seeing these actors. These top 7 actors who have come off of thousands of performances, or 1,000+ performances on the West End, to come to Broadway, reprise their roles. They surely know their characters, like at least in terms of these versions of their characters, off the back of their hand, or like the back of their hand. I really want to see them commune. I really want to see these actors put on this performance and this show happening in this theater. So I am genuinely excited for the production, and that's what I'm going into it looking for.
Micah, you feeling good going into it?
Yeah, I think, as I said earlier, you have to look at it as an experience, and going to see the show, I will not go in with any sort of negative thoughts based on the story. I think you go there to see what exactly it's all about, and I'll keep any thoughts I have about it until we record later on that night.
Yeah, so that is what our plan is, by the way. We're seeing it all in one day on Wednesday, so that's going to be a fun marathon. And then after part 2, we're going to head back to our hotel room, and we are going to record a reaction episode, which will be a lot of fun. We'll be coming just out of the show, recording directly after seeing it, and we'll have a good time discussing it, and maybe unwinding with some drinks. And we're going to be streaming that live on Patreon. We're going to try to do video as well, since we're all going to be together.
Mm-hmm.
And then that will be released to the public a couple days later. So look forward to that. That's going to be fun. And then also for patrons, we're going to be recording a video in between parts. So we'll get the halftime report from Micah and Eric and myself. And I'm just looking forward to experiencing this in this gorgeous theater on Broadway with you guys and you two right as it opens. And we also want to plug a couple of our Essential Cursed Child episodes. I think Eric went back and found these for us.
Yeah, so the episodes where we critically analyze, and again, our upcoming episode when we've come off seeing the play will probably be a lot more positive than these episodes were. But honestly, the episodes where Andrew first saw the Cursed Child and the plot details came to light because people around the world were seeing it. We actually did 2 episodes, but I neglected to mention the first one. But 294 and 295 of MuggleCast were our first sort of reactions. We didn't review the book itself, but because it wasn't out yet, because the previews had just aired. And particularly episode 295, #Wormtaily, is Andrew having seen the show, trying to keep a straight face, Mike and I reading spoilers on like Tumblr and stuff.
A great way to experience the 8th story.
About what, the plot recap, but every single one of them was true, as it turns out. And just kind of reacting to what we thought. And then a couple episodes later, episodes 298 and 299 of MuggleCast are the Cursed Child script book review for part 1 and part 2. And that's where we're all on equal footing. We've all read the story, and we talk about how we feel about the story. So those were just the essentials. If anyone's looking, those are the numbers: 295 for Wormtaily, 298 to 299 on the script review. And like I said, I think it's been a journey, and I think that we are all positive and looking forward to seeing the actual show, and especially together. It's going to be exciting. But if you do want some more of our, literary criticism, for whatever that's worth, go check those old episodes out.
Yeah. So we're also going to have a wider discussion on the post core book series world coming up, we're going to talk about, based on what occurs in the original 7 Harry Potter books, what would we have preferred to have seen in the 8th story? Right. This isn't going to be a cursed child bashing segment. We're just going to answer, based on what happens in the original 7 books, what would we have liked to have seen more of in an 8th story? So that's coming up. But first, it's time to tell you about this week's sponsor. They are Simple Contacts. They're a new sponsor for us, and ordering new ones for you just got a lot easier thanks to Simple Contacts. They are the most convenient way to renew your contact lens prescription and reorder your brand of contacts from anywhere in minutes. It's vision care for the 21st century, because instead of heading to the doctor every single year to renew your prescription for something you wear every day, you can just take a few minutes out of your day to do it on your own time and your own terms from the comfort of your couch. This is ridiculous, but there's a law in the U.S. that requires anyone who wears contacts to have a new prescription written every year in order to be able to buy lenses, even if your vision hasn't changed for 15 years and you have perfectly healthy eyes. That's nonsense. So this is very expensive, time-consuming, and people put it off, which can cause eye issues from overwearing old lenses. It's just a bad habit that most contact lens wearers are guilty of because they can't get to the doctor in time or can't afford a new prescription. This is where Simple Contacts comes in. So when you need to renew your prescription, take a 5-minute vision test from your phone or computer. It's then reviewed by a licensed doctor, and then you'll receive a renewed prescription, and you'll be able to reorder your contacts. All you need is your current contacts, an internet connection, and 10 feet of space. And yeah, Simple Contacts has all the brands and types of lenses you're familiar with, so you never have to shop around to find your lenses at the best price. And by the way, if you have an unexpired prescription, that's no problem either. Just upload a photo or your doctor's info and order your lenses. And just one thing, keep in mind, this isn't a replacement for your periodic full eye health exam because they don't examine eye health or write completely new prescriptions. This is for streamlining the hassle around renewing your prescription and reordering your brands. And you can trust them. Simple Contacts has been rated 5 stars over 3,000 times on the App Store. Check it out. See for yourself. People love this service. And you can even text the support team if you ever have any problems, and always get to speak with a person, not a robot. So to save $30 on your lenses, just go to simplecontacts.com/MuggleCast or enter the code MuggleCast at checkout. Again, simplecontacts.com and get $30 off by going to simplecontacts.com/MuggleCast or just enter code MuggleCast at checkout. All right.
Cool.
Let's look with a fresh pair of eyes on an 8th story we would have liked to have seen.
Yeah.
Eric, you came up with this idea. Let's start with you.
Yeah, so basically, I think because the Cursed Child goes in one direction about, how Harry fares as a parent and all of that other stuff, but it does, have the downside of being set 19 years later, right? It opens with the epilogue scene, if I'm remembering correctly, when Harry's children are grown and going to school. And I'd actually like to see from an 8th story, if canon were to be continued, I'm kind of more of a right afterwards, aftermath, Battle of Hogwarts kind of guy. So what little we know from J.K. Rowling states that Hermione actually did go back and complete a 7th year of Hogwarts because she never, obviously they were gone for the regular 7th year, and the Hogwarts curriculum was actually all different with Death Eaters running the school. So I would actually want to see a book that is, or a story that is set in the year following the Battle of Hogwarts, or, maybe term starts on September 15th or something. They need a little bit more time to clean up all the bricks and the dead bodies from Hogwarts. But I really want to see a year where Hogwarts is preparing, people are coming to terms with, the aftermath of the war, and the insight, the idea is that this would be from Hermione's perspective. So you'd actually see some of the classes that 7th year wizards are taking. We've talked before about how, there is no wizard college that we know of, and it's unclear just like how advanced magic really is supposed to be in year 7. We don't see it because the trio are all gone. but I want to see, a year that would kind of fill that void and scratch that itch for what does seventh year magic look like as taught at Hogwarts. And, certainly Hermione of them all is going to be studying hard and kind of doing some really amazing magic. So I kind of I want to go back into the wizarding world. I want to see, yes, the character moments, the natural aftermath, Harry and Ginny getting together, all this stuff that's going to happen, but also through the lens of another year at Hogwarts.
That's a great idea. And I can already see it. Harry, Ron, I want to go back to Hogwarts. Hermione, why do you want to do that? I'm happy to be out of Hogwarts. I just need to go complete my curriculum.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so Hermione.
Yeah. So and that's what I want out of an 8th story.
How about you, Molly? What would your dream 8th story be?
So when I saw this on the doc, I had like a lot of thoughts because I feel like there's a lot of things I'd like to see. But I think I would really like to see something from Neville's perspective, like maybe not directly after the Battle of Hogwarts, but kind of once he becomes like we don't know when he becomes a professor. And we've always been talking about like what's the life of a Hogwarts professor like? So I thought it'd be really cool if we could see like Neville's kind of like stories, there could be cool things going on or some mystery or adventure, but like from Neville's perspective as a Hogwarts professor, his character is a lot different in Deathly Hallows than what we had seen previously, and we don't really see him that much. So like he's definitely changed. But also like he's kind of this like famed hero now from the Battle of Hogwarts. Like he killed Nagini. So I feel like Neville probably wouldn't, I don't know, he'd probably be like uncomfortable with that. Like all these students are gonna be like, oh, like you were this hero at the Battle of Hogwarts. But definitely just like seeing, what life is like as a Hogwarts professor from Neville's point of view.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
How about you, Micah?
So I kind of took the Hogwarts overall approach, and I wanted to know what exactly happened to the school following the infamous battle. I don't feel like we get a whole lot of information. I'm sure things got rebuilt just based on what we see in, Cursed Child, let's say. But, what, if any, new areas of the school got built? Like, did they just decide, okay, you know what, this got destroyed, so we don't even need to bother with it? Did the heads of houses remain in place?
Yeah.
What about Filch? I'm assuming he would be somewhat integral to helping rebuild the school, but as we saw in part 2 of Deathly Hallows, I think maybe the only thing that he might be able to use is a sweeping broom.
I'm going to say maybe he's just going to be like, I am too old for this shit, and leave.
Go off with Mrs. Norris. And
Yeah.
Hagrid, what happened to him on the grounds of the school? Did McGonagall transition into a full-time role as headmistress?
Yeah.
I
would love to have seen that.
All about the different teachers that were at the school. I mean, Dumbledore kind of had a cast of characters that were there. And if you think about a lot of them that came through the school, in today's day and age, there probably would have been a little bit of a stigma attached to a lot of them. And I think that's in part why J.K. Rowling included them in the series, whether, Lupin is probably, the one that comes top of mind most. But, just thinking through, did the Ministry decide to come in and kind of crack down on how things were going at Hogwarts? Not at the level, obviously, of what Fudge and Umbridge did, but just kind of thinking through what happened to this school after the battle. I think so much was focused on Harry, Ron, and Hermione, and then transitioning very quickly to the epilogue. And putting the epilogue and Cursed Child aside, did the stigma of Slytherin remain following the battle? So I think this could easily be viewed through the eyes of a student that we know or a professor that we know. But I feel like we were left to just kind of be like, okay, school will be rebuilt. Everything will go back to being semi-normal. Who knows? And maybe some of these answers exist in part on Pottermore, but these were just some things that came to mind.
I love the idea of new rooms or new sections being built of the castle. Like, well, time for a remodel.
Yeah, you can create like
We lost half the castle. I think it's time to rebuild it.
Yeah.
the Dumbledore wing or I don't know.
Oh yeah.
The Snape
tribute.
Potions. I mean, look, every college campus and probably even a lot of high schools, and they get renovated, they get built up,
Absolutely,
additions onto them. So
I would name the library after Dumbledore.
there you go.
Yeah.
So,
The Albus Dumbledore Library.
I think it's really funny you talked about the rebuilding of Hogwarts, because when I was thinking about this question, I had in my mind these short vignettes of just Filch putting some bricks, mortaring some bricks back together, and short things of Filch just not being able to use magic but having to help re-put the castle back together.
He's actually
with the toothbrush, getting annoyed he has to do everything.
Yeah, Mrs. Norris knocks over his stuff, so he has to restart again.
Just Filch bricklaying.
For me, I would have taken more of a Ministry of Magic angle based on what we know. Because Harry, Ron, and Hermione all went to go work for the Ministry of Magic, and Kingsley was the minister for magic. So I would have liked to have seen the adventures of the trio in the new Ministry of Magic, with Harry and Ron working as Aurors. I would have liked to see what crime they were taking care of. I guess the only issue here would be that it wouldn't be as epic as the stuff you would see from Voldemort, but it'll almost be like a television series. They're taking care of little things every episode, and it's fun to watch. And then I also would have liked to have seen the specifics on the reforms that were made by Shacklebolt, because we know he made a bunch of changes, but in light of Fudge and Scrimgeour's poor leadership, what did he do to make sure that type of thing would never happen again?
Yeah.
For example, if a Voldemort-like situation came up again, how would he have handled it? What things were in place? I know he also expunged much of the Death Eaters from the Ministry. Who took their place? What rules are in place now?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Because this all kind of comes back, as we were discussing recently when talking about Fudge. It all comes back to the Ministry mishandling this whole situation. If they were on top of Voldemort a lot earlier, all these things wouldn't have happened. Maybe.
Yeah, everything from international relations to Muggle relations and all that is probably handled a little bit differently with Kingsley at the helm. Yeah,
and if we went back into the Ministry of Magic, maybe we actually would have gotten a good look at the Department of Mysteries. Am I right?
Maybe.
Justice for the Department of Mysteries.
Justice for the Love Room. Bring it back. I think at the very least, the Ministry now has a forearm check for Death Eaters, potential Death Eaters. Yeah,
probably a good idea.
Yeah.
So we got feedback from patrons as well. We asked this question over at patreon.com/MuggleCast. Stephanie said, more of the story between Deathly Hallows ending and the start of the prologue. What were the trials like? Did Harry testify on Draco's behalf? What was it like for Hermione to restore her parents' memories? How awesome were Ginny's Hollyhead Harpies tryouts? So much more. Centralize the story around Harry working up the nerve to ask Ginny to marry him, maybe? Ooh. Ashley says, I would never really want an 8th Harry Potter story. I think that's a big issue with film/book/TV shows in general. They drag it on until it becomes terrible and end it on a mediocre note. Let the story be the story. Everything has to come to an end, and the way Deathly Hallows ended was perfect for me. I don't need any more closure. Apart for the unbelievably far-fetched and abysmal plotline, one reason I don't accept The Cursed Child as canon is because for me, the story was over. However, I would be very interested in a book with the same universe, like Fantastic Beasts, but not as a continuation of the Harry Potter story. The Marauders has always interested me, as well as the Founders era. Yeah, and that's a good point. We would never be fully satisfied, no matter what was released.
Yeah, that's probably true. Laurie has an interesting idea. She says, I think while most people would say something like a story from the Founders era or the Marauders era, it would have been interesting to expand on some side characters such as Dean, who we know Joe had further plans for, Seamus, Luna, Cho, etc., maybe in the form of some short stories that took place during Harry's 7 years. I think it would also be cool to get a look at what Neville's Dumbledore army was getting up to during Deathly Hallows in more detail. I think it would be safer to expand within the current era to prevent outrageous retcons or changes to canon like The Cursed Child. Yeah, like a kind of an 8th story, but it's a story within a story. It's what other characters were doing during. I really do eat that stuff up. Like, and I've read. Did they ever actually release Midnight Sun, Andrew?
No.
Yeah, it was.
Interestingly, she started working on it again, and then E.L. James announced Grey. That's like the Midnight Sun of the 50 Shades books, and then Stephanie Meyer got frustrated and gave up again. But she still says one day she'll publish it.
It's crazy, but I love it. You know, I really actually do eat up the same story, but from another character's perspective type stuff. So I'm here for Laurie's idea.
Micah, you should be verified now.
Okay.
We actually got a lot of comments from people saying that I don't necessarily want an 8th story. And yeah, that is completely fair. I think ending it on all was well was a good note to stop things on.
Do you guys think that people don't want an 8th story now that we do have an 8th story because of a lot of people's like reactions to The Cursed Child?
Yeah,
that's a good point.
There's one particular comment by Courtney B who says, I would like the next story to be a complete retraction of Cursed Child, Harry Potter and the really bad dream. And he's only really just woken up the day after the Battle of Hogwarts, and we can walk with him, Ron and Hermione, and all our favorite characters for the next 19 years.
I mean, like I said earlier in this episode, by the end of part 2, they do kind of retract everything that happens in The Cursed Child.
Well, except for the fact that Harry's a bad dad. Like, that's still mostly true, right?
Yeah. I know some people don't like that, but I was okay with it. Yeah. Being a parent is hard, from what I hear. You learn as you go along. So, you know, he tripped up. He screwed up.
It's just another opportunity to show how Harry's not good at something, and I'm over it personally. But I like this. A couple more comments. Ryan N actually speaks to Harry's character. Says, I would like to have seen Harry dealing with a sense of aimlessness and boredom in his life after his defeat of Voldemort at 17. Like, what do you do with all that time? Maybe he develops a drinking problem. Lay off the fireball, Harry. You've got kids now. So, yeah, kind of like the 19 years later is... there's a lot that could happen in those 19 years, and I think a lot of people are kind of pointing that out with their answers. Rebecca R. says, I would have loved to have seen what Teddy's childhood was like, and if it paralleled any to Harry's, with them both having been orphaned as babies. Obviously, I think Teddy probably fared better, having been surrounded by more loving people and not having to deal with the uprising of an evil lunatic, but I still think it would be interesting to get more story on his journey. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, everybody who's been submitting feedback over there. We've been reading them all, and fellow patrons, we encourage you to read everybody's feedback. It's a fun community we have at patreon.com/MuggleCast.
Today's show is also brought to you by Away. Away creates special objects that are designed to be resilient, resourceful, and essential to the way you travel today. Now, Away has asked thousands of people how they pack, why they travel, and what bugs them the most about their luggage. Then, they designed a bag that solved a few old problems, like sticky wheels. I always had that problem when I'm trying to drag my suitcase through the airport and it keeps hitting into the back of my leg. And a few new ones, too, like dead cell phones, right?
Mm-hmm.
Away uses high-quality materials while offering a much lower price compared to other brands by cutting out the middleman and selling it directly to you. Now, listeners can choose from a variety of colors and 4 sizes. They have the carry-on, the bigger carry-on, the medium, or the large, if you're taking a long vacation. Now, these suitcases, they're unrivaled in strength and impact-resistant. The interior features a patent-pending compression system, which is helpful for people who overpack. Plus, you get a TSA-approved combination lock for security purposes. Don't want people just randomly going through your luggage. And a single charge of the Away carry-on will charge your phone 5 times. So you can actually
Wow.
charge your phone through this. This is revolutionary to me. And Andrew, I know you yourself have one of these and have had a really great experience.
Yeah.
I just got mine, so I still need the opportunity to be able to go and test it out. I have some trips coming up in May, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I was glad they're sponsoring us. I love my Away suitcase. First of all, they're beautiful and they're very light and yet durable. And the 4 wheels on them make them really easy to roll. And that built-in battery for charging USB devices. That's what I love most about it. That's what sold me on it. It's so nice to have a battery charged within your suitcase. And there's this little flap on the top of the suitcase that you just pop open, and then you can plug in your iPhone or Android or any other USB device, and then you're charging right there. It's so easy, and it's so nice knowing you have backup battery power, especially in an airport where, you don't know if your flight's going to be delayed or if you're traveling and get stuck in an Uber. You got your suitcase right there. You can still charge wherever you are. That's what I'm a geek, so having that built into my suitcase was super cool.
Yep.
I'm loving my carry-on from Away.
And I, of course, forgot to mention there's a removable laundry bag in there too. So they've literally thought of everything.
And they have straps in there so you can like pack down like your clothes so you can make even more fit than what normally would. I just love it.
Yeah. And just a few other benefits. There's a lifetime warranty. So if anything ends up breaking, they'll fix it and replace it. There's a 100-day trial. So if for some reason you don't like it, you're able to return it. No questions asked. Free shipping in the lower 48 states. And these carry-ons are compliant with all major U.S. airlines. For listeners of the show, $20 off a suitcase. All you have to do is visit awaytravel.com/MuggleCast and use promo code MuggleCast, and that's it. So visit awaytravel.com/MuggleCast and use promo code MuggleCast to get $20 off an Away carry-on suitcase.
Amazing. I highly recommend them.
Yeah, I know a lot of people who listen to the show, they travel for work, they travel for personal reasons. Maybe they're going to a Harry Potter convention. They're coming to see Cursed Child in New York from out of town. This is very simple, very easy. I've been very, very impressed, and I'm looking forward to using it in the coming weeks.
That honestly sounds like amazing. Like I just spent the last 4 months traveling, and I would have loved to have that.
Oh yeah, yeah. All right, a little piece of Muggle mail here, and then we'll get to Quizzitch. Excuse me. This is from Jennifer in St. George on Twitter. We were debating how to pronounce crab apple. Crap apple.
No, crab apple. That was way typoed.
You wrote crap apple.
I really did, not intentionally.
It is pronounced crab apple because crab is derived from the Swedish word skraba, which means fruit of the wild apple tree. So there you go, crab apple.
Yeah, the Weasleys have a crab apple tree.
Beautiful, perfect.
Thank you to everyone who wrote in about that. It's time for Quizzitch. Last week's question, what is Professor Quirrell's first name? And the answer to that question is Quirinus or Quirinus. It's Quirinus. Quirinus Quirrell.
It's
and
so
this
weird.
It's not actually in the seven Harry Potter books either. My understanding is that it first appeared on one of the original famous Witches and Wizards cards that was done for, I think, either magazines or something official where it's like it's canon, and J.K. Rowling actually did write the little bios for all the different wizards on there and that sort of thing.
I was hoping for Bob.
Bob Quirrell. I think they called him Bob for short, or Q, or Quinn,
probably Q.
Yeah, but it is another one of those famous J.K. Rowling alliterative names, like Helga Hufflepuff, Godric Gryffindor, Peter Pettigrew.
Well, if he was Q, then he would have to be in James Bond.
Q.
QQ.
Particularly, you have a license to kill. Yeah. Anyway, congratulations to all the people who sent in the correct answer, which I'm going to read a list of their names. Hannah, Amy H., Kevin E., Jennifer St. George, Brian D., @Mama Ravenclaw, Angelica, Ann Slater, Scribbler01, John Tubbs, Mark Oppa, Enceladus, Sean Brady, Jess Hardy, Megan, Ryan Nolan, Mandy, Aiden, Marky Monster, Richard C, Milk _the _goats, Tommy B, Andrea F, Pranvi, Mr. Glass, Casper, Jitter B, Mary, Erica, Sham, and Chris.
Yeah, as you can tell, we got a lot of responses this week. I don't know
Seems
what
like
it was with
That's
this week.
an
Did we really
easy
encourage
question.
people?
Everybody knew this. I don't know if I used particularly strong language to get everybody to enter, but
Answer it.
enter now. But yeah, lots of people got the correct answer. So I guess many people know this. This week's question, I'm going for another like lesser known. It only appears in the books once, that I know. The question is, where in Britain is the Railview Hotel located?
Probably next to a train.
Yeah, probably next to the Railview stop on the Metro. But that's the question, and please submit your answer. Here's how you play. You must @reply MuggleCast, and you must give us the answer to Quizzitch and say the answer to this week's Quizzitch is blank. And also, I get messages. People are like, how do we see what other people are saying? Just do the same thing. Just do a Twitter search for MuggleCast and whatever the correct answer is, and you can see everybody's response if you're, I don't know, want to be among the community of all the people who are winning Quizzitch together.
This week, though, you would probably just have to search Twitter for Quinnerus. Have you pronounced that name?
Queerness.
Queerness.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee MuggleCast listeners are the only ones talking about queerness on Twitter this week. Yeah, it's nice hearing from everybody, so thanks for reaching out.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, thank you to Tasha. I received the Bruce Springsteen calendar. I'm now deciding where to hang it in my home, so thank you. I couldn't find you on Twitter or Facebook, so shout out here.
Tasha.
If you want to get in touch with us, you can call us 1-920-3-MUGGLE. That's 920-368-4453. Leave a voicemail. We'll return the voicemails in the weeks ahead as we enter year 2 of our daily Harry Potter podcast. We got our P.O. Box at 40. Well, now we have 365 episodes, one for each day of the year. Yeah.
Wow.
Surprise, Micah. That's what you get for not having a charged phone. You didn't know this.
We're going weekly.
Going daily.
That's what I meant.
Yeah. 4044 North Lincoln Avenue, Box 144, Chicago, IL 60618 is our P.O. Box. If you want to just reach out to us the old-fashioned millennial way, we have a feedback form on the website, MuggleCast.com. By the way, you might want to keep an eye on our Twitter this week and our Facebook, because I'm sure we'll post some updates from our trip to the Cursed Child.
Yeah.
If you want to see any photos from that, twitter.com/MuggleCast and Facebook.com/MuggleCast. Patrons, stay tuned for that live stream in the middle of the week. It's going to be Wednesday night, probably pretty late, probably 11 Eastern, maybe a little later, probably a little later.
Yeah.
But we will stay up, and we will not stop until we have shared every piece of feedback we can about seeing the Cursed Child, our experience running into Bono and the Edge, and Dan Radcliffe at the Wednesday night, quote-unquote, opening, not opening of the Cursed Child.
Yeah, and one other thing to look forward to, as I've seen, it's been released in some parts of the world, that's Hogwarts Mystery.
Oh, yeah, that's coming out, I think, the day we're at the show, right?
Yeah, the day we're at the show, Hogwarts
It is,
Mystery.
But based on what people have posted in the Facebook group, even though I know you guys don't think that I look at that.
You're in the Facebook group? I didn't even know you were in there.
Yeah, no, people have been
I didn't even know
posting.
you were on Facebook.
I'm not. I don't even know how I got the link to join the Google Hangout to do the show. But it's people have already started to get it, I guess, in different parts of the world. So
yeah, I think they're like soft launching it, so they're testing it with smaller audiences first before throwing it at America and England and Australia. Or no, Australia already has it, actually.
Yeah, Australia already has it. So
they're testing the servers, make sure they can handle the load. Harry Potter fans.
All right, cool.
Molly, thanks for joining us. Hope you had a good time today.
I did. Thanks so much for having me.
Awesome. Don't return your Cursed Child book. Keep it, see the play, then decide what you're going to do with the script.
Honestly, thank you for going through all the effort of reading that just to be on this show. I hope that
you know what
don't
you should
regret
do,
it.
Molly? You should bring the book with you, try and get it signed, and then at least they'll have some value.
That's true. I don't know. I kind of want to return it, but I'll
Oh
keep
gosh,
it.
okay.
All right. Well,
Yeah, she told us that before recording. I don't think we mentioned that.
but we're having positive attitude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good vibes
No,
going into.
I'll keep it. It's a Harry Potter book. It can go on the shelf.
Right. Yeah, it was nice having you on. You were a great co-host, and thanks for your support on Patreon.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks,
Boom.
everybody, for listening. I'm Andrew.
I'm Eric.
Micah?
And I'm Molly.
We'll see you next time for 366. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.